and hazy dreams, where time slows down and bloodline gently gleams. Floating melodies, soothing beats arise, taking us away where imagination flies. Close your eyes, enter the dreamland serene, where the subconscious tells a story yet unseen. Loved by the rhythm of trance slowly unfolds in this realm of tranquility where peace beholds.
Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Look, today I want to talk a little bit about using an affirmation campaign to increase your extrasensory abilities, ESP. There are the narrative, of course, by the government and their owned mainstream press is that there's no such thing. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. However, scientific studies have proven otherwise. Anybody who's picked up a downing rod and hunted for water or for pipes buried under the ground can attest to this fact. You take the two wires, you walk down, and the wires cross when you cross a pipe. All right? You can't see the pipe, you can't hear the pipe, but there it is. So this ability to sense things outside of sight, hearing, taste, and touch is known as extrasensory. There's all different types of variances of extrasensory perception, and with going on all kinds of names. For instance, you can pick up, some people have the ability to pick up an item and tell you the complete history behind it, or the history of the person who last touched it. They can zoom in on that. Other people have the ability to remote view. Others have lucid dreaming, the ability to travel. All these things are extrasensory perceptions. Certain ones are quite famous, like predicting the future or seeing trends. Now, it's discounted a lot because the mainstream statists believe that the earth is shared. We all share an environment when we don't. And they also believe that while it's changing, we all share the changes, which it isn't. So when a person is using extrasensory perception, it differs from normal perceptions. Your eyes and ears and everything can sense what it sees at that moment, but not the alternatives in different world lines, because we're all constantly going in and out of the MWI, searching out different world lines. What people don't talk about is other animals. Dogs and cats and horses all have the ability to see multiple world lines lay in front of them. Cats are known to have 9 lives because they see the alternatives and they take appropriate action, which might astound some of you that I incorporate the unseen into my day-to-day seen life. But that's because the world is a complex place, and I embrace it, and I think you all should too. We've all had glimmers of extrasensory perception that we can't explain, like being visited by a dead relative or a dead pet, predicting an earthquake is going to happen, or feeling that something is wrong, a quick glimpse of the future, or a memory of the past. All these elements are extrasensory perception. And I think that they are valuable. I really do. I think that they're very valuable to cultivate and to use. Don't you guys think so? Well, I think so. And so today what I want to talk about, that was the 4 minutes of a wordy introduction, for Christ almighty, but I want to talk about the fact that you can improve or even obtain extrasensory perception in your affirmations. It can be as simple as saying, I have extrasensory perception, but that's such a broad category. That's like saying, I have a car, okay? You know, I live in a house. I eat food. You know, you want to be a little bit more specific than that. So you pick the types of extrasensory perception that you might find interesting. Whether it's the ability to lucid dream or the ability to manipulate your non-physical soul, the ability to communicate telepathically, or the ability to sense things of others, the ability to emote, the ability to scry or drowse, or some of these other techniques. You can go on the internet and find the different types. There's tens of tens, maybe tens of hundreds, I don't know, many different types. Find ones you want to study and implement, and by all means, add a statement in your affirmation campaign that says so. Now, these statements can, of course, always can, of course, be very simplistic. You could say something like, I can lucid dream. You know. But I would say that you might want to put up a kind of experience egregor, meaning that you can lay out a educational pathway in your affirmations that say, I can first sense that I have various extrasensory perception abilities, and once I sense them, I will know exactly which ones that I can use to my ability and thus improve upon using affirmations. The idea is to use affirmations as a tool. People nowadays are using ChatGPT as a tool to give you a little bit of direction, because it's easier to talk to ChatGPT than it is to work with Google. But you can do that to yourself through affirmations, and I recommend that. I do. I recommend that. So I think perhaps for me personally, the ability to sense something is something that I've had this ability. I've had glimmers of my future. I know what it's going to like when I die, for instance. I've seen it when I leave my body. And it's nothing horrible. I'm in the hospital, and people are around me saying goodbye. It's a modern hospital, and I'm a pretty frail guy. So I envision myself in my 90s. So that's some. I got a couple of decades to go yet, thank God. But I've seen other things happen, and it's been my experience that when I picture something, it's always on the highest probability world line travel path that I'm on at the moment. So let's suppose I'll tell you an example in this office. I'm in my office, and I had a picture that I would receive a uncomfortable news from the executive board who runs the company. And I pictured myself clear as day sitting at the desk with my head down, phone on my ear, and I'm listening to this and getting the bad news. Now, this happened on the very day that we moved into our new offices. So the moment that happened, I saw my desk location, and I intentionally moved my desk at a 90-degree angle. so I wouldn't get that news. Well, sure as shit. There was a 6-month period where I got a call and I'm talking, and he says, well, give it another 3 more months. And 3 more months came by, and then I got the bad news. It wasn't catastrophically bad news, but it was bad news enough that the same event that I experienced, my head down, my phone on my ear, listening to the guy, to the executive board, tell me the way things are going to be, was broadcasted to me. The point of the matter is, I saw the future. I envisioned it in the track that I was on. I tried to alter it by altering the decor. It did not alter it significant enough to stop it. The event still occurred, which means that the template stayed true, but the world line path was altered. I think I bought myself maybe 3 months by changing the orientation of the desk, but still, the event still occurred. The details, what it was, and all this other kind of stuff is immaterial, okay? We all have good news and bad news in our life. It's up to us and how we handle it. And I tried to use affirmations and my ESP ability, my latent ESP ability, which I will tell you is stronger than most, but trivial, really small compared to some of these other just really greats that I see and talk to on the internet. Here's some people out there. You've got abilities. I don't have anything to. But the point of the matter is here, we can use our extrasensory perceptions to give us insight on how to handle our life. And it might be a good idea to improve that ability, right? To improve it in understanding or in skill level. It's been my understanding that ESP ability is something that you can cultivate over time, that you can improve upon through practice. And I really believe that. I know that you can do that with dowsing. The more they've done it practicing. They took a field, plowed it up so it's nothing but dirt. They buried jars of water in it, then took people with the dowsing rods and told them to find it. The more that they practiced, the better they got at it. So it's an acquired skill. We don't quite understand it, but we can see that it works. On my webpage, I've got some links on the intention experiment. They talk about the scientific studies related to ESP. I've got 4 posts with complete write-ups of the books. Read them if you're interested. Good stuff. I dare say that dowsing for water is not something that a lot of people will want to study. It seems to not really have that much day-to-day importance in people's lives. However, the curious thing about dowsing is you can use it to find lost rings, watches, metal, other things. It's a sensing of something that is obscured to us. Now, if you were to take away your eyes and envision everything that's physical, tables, chairs, grounds, trees, as just dust, light dust of various densities, gas and dust, and you had that ability to sense those things, you might be able to sense, say, a heavy object like gold and coins would be a more denser collection of dust, where something like water might be a lesser collection of dust. These things, this ability to sense, is really important. So how you approach it in your affirmations is equally important. You can say, on even the most trivial level, that you are trying your best, perhaps to add an affirmation that would say something like, that I am given direction and know completely, through absolute positive, no question whatsoever, what affirmations I need to say to improve my extrasensory perception abilities. That way the affirmation will tell you what to do. There's a movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think that's the name of the movie. It's a British movie. This alien race gives this guy this power for a period of time that he just moves his hand and whatever he wishes comes true. And in the movie there's a scene where he's like, he totally messes up everything. Everything's all messed up all around him. And he's like, oh, I wish I knew what to, I wish I had an idea on what to do next. And then suddenly he moves his hand and he has this idea and he's like, wow, that's a really good idea. And so he does it. That's basically what you're trying to do here in this effort. I think it's a good idea. So use the affirmations itself to give you the direction on how to proceed when it comes to extrasensory perception. Then, however your thoughts are, then use affirmations to strengthen your latent abilities, because we all have extrasensory abilities. It's just a lot of it has atrophied through the disuse. Okay? I will tell you that this bombardment of electronic media, whether you're not even watching TV or social media or anything, just walking down the city street, you're being bombarded by stray electromagnetic frequencies and all this stuff. And it affects how we think. Even we're not aware of it, we just become accustomed to it. When I lived in the desert, I was in Majestic, I had to go through training, so I was in the Mojave Desert at the China Lake Naval Weapons Center. And when I was there, we would, 9 to 5 training, and then, I could do whatever I wanted. Often, my wife and I, we'd hop on the motorcycle, drive in the desert, and man, I will tell you, there's no electricity, there's no power, there's nothing. And there, holy cow, you start feeling this oneness with the ground. You feel the tides of the motions and everything of the universe around us. That sounds all new, wavy, and rainbows and unicorn kind of stuff. And it's not tin hat foil stuff either. It's a matter of perception. Just perception. We're just talking perception. How you perceive something. Okay. I can talk about how it perceives. I got myself here. I got a spoon in my hand. That's perception. So let's talk about something resembling a spoon. I think I mentioned this before. My first wife had a first cousin who was a spoon bender. I always thought it was a trick, a parlor trick. Somebody just had this fake spoon, or they did it with special effects or something. We visited them in Florida, Vero Beach. She took the spoon out. She did it 3 times in front of me. Took a spoon, held it in her hand, and rubbed it. And that spoon bent and twisted and everything. I couldn't believe it. And we gave her some money to buy a new pack of spoons. Because, she's wasting all this money on spoons. She said she can do it on forks. She did it on a fork. Really, the ends of the forks just started going like corkscrews. It was just the darndest thing. Nobody knows how it works. She didn't know how it works, but it just did, and that's the way it is. It's not a functional ability. It's an out of the normal ability that is suggestive of something latent that's far more powerful. Like if you're near a big pool of water on a hot day and you run your hand on the outside of the pool side, you'll feel condensation. It's sort of like that. We're seeing elements of something far deeper, a far greater ability. I think all of us should take some time to really consider about improving this ability to sense things, to emote the feelings of other people, to get a handle on how they feel and what they think. It will improve our communication, I'll tell you what. If we can communicate better, our life will be better as far as interactions with other people. I view it as a positive thing. That, being able to communicate with pets and animals, being able to communicate to total strangers, to be aware if there's a malevolent person in the room, all this kind of stuff I think is very, very valuable. So affirmations related to increasing your extrasensory perception ability does work, can work, and I've had followers of MM that have done that, and they've added questions in their affirmations for direction, and they have been told, some of them, they've been told to find these teachers online. And so they searched and they found some teachers, and their ability is just off the charts right now, while others have been told to do certain things, eat certain foods, have to eat certain foods, change a couple of behavioral lifestyles, and now they are reporting that they're clearer in their ability to sense things. I had one person who used this and suddenly discovered this ability to talk to fairies. Fairies do exist. There's all kinds of things out there that do exist. Some of you get on the internet, and I posted some of these videos on Metallic Man, of these strange things, these glitches in the matrix, they call them, or unexplained things, or a lot of times they're spooky things, and they play these god-awful spooky movies to music to attract 11-year-olds or something, but really they're filming something that actually occurred. It need not be spooky. There's certain areas, there's little people around. They're very elusive, like around the South America and Middle America areas. There's these little people. They're running around, and they are secretive. And there's also in New Zealand, there's actually some little people living out there. You can using a specific terminology in your affirmation campaign, you can seek out people like this. You can communicate with them. You can do all kinds of things. Don't limit yourself by what you see or what other people think. Don't limit yourself by what you see on the internet or on video. And for God knows, don't rely so much on the mainstream media. They are just going to put you in this nice little tight little box. You got to go start thinking for yourself, I'll tell you what. So, with all this being said, I think that if you've got the time and the space to add one or two more affirmations in your affirmation schedule, go ahead and add something about improving your ability to sense beyond your 5 senses. I think you'll be glad you did. And I, of course, recommend that you be told just a complete understanding that one day you just have this complete understanding of what to do. You might be surprised how fast that happens. I mean, I've had people, they put in an affirmation and 2 days later they get the answer. You might be absolutely surprised. And by the way, you don't have to use affirmations to do this. You can simply say it out loud before you go to sleep, and you'll get the answer when you wake up in the morning. Usually, not always. Depends on how much you're drinking. That's a little bit of a joke there. But it all depends on your situation at hand, okay? You know, life is too short not to be the best you can be. Don't try grasping for all this money and power and wealth and keeping up with other people. Just be the best you that you can be. You have circles of friends? Spend some time with them, okay? Really. friendship's really important. You got pets. One of the ML followers lost one of their pets. I feel for them. I really feel for them. But don't worry, they'll be back. They'll be back. They always come back. We cycle in quanta. But just try to reach out to other people. Don't isolate yourself. Internet is a tool. Social media is a tool. Don't make it more than that. Everything is under your control. And with that, I'm gonna close this one off. I think it's a little bit longer than my normal stuff. Maybe it's because I like ESP. I don't know. The Intention Experiments, the name of the book. I've got it on Metallic Man, and I can give you the links if you can't find it on your own. You can get the links by going to my intention or my affirmations sub index that's in my main index. So you go to Metallic Man main index, go down to affirmation campaigns, click on that button, and then at the very bottom of the page you get all the links to the book, full HTML, not PDF, HTML. Or is it PDF? I think it's HTML. That you can just watch right there on your cell phone and read about these stuff. Be amazed, because basically all this stuff in affirmations is based upon scientific studies. There you go. Aside from the fact that it works, I'll tell you what. And one more thing before I go. I know I'm a little bit rambling right now, but I am on my last month. I'm in month 3 of my 3-4 campaign, and it's Dragon Year. First, for me personally, first part of the Dragon Year got hit by the Dragon Tail Star. It's supposed to be a good year, but it was sort of like sitting in a dentist waiting room for 6 months, I'll tell you what. But that's all ending. I got all kinds of stuff suddenly crawling out of the rock. It's like there was like this big war. All of a sudden the storm and the war kind of moves on out of the way, and all the people and the ants and the mice all crawl out from the rocks. That's what it's like right now, this early August. Funny thing. But yeah, so I'm adding that up, and next month, after this month of affirmations, I'll be moving on into my dwell period. It's a 4-month dwell, and they're always proceeding the way they do. Of course, I've taken my highlighter and I highlighted the things that already came true. The more you do affirmation campaigns, the quicker the things happen. Once you're on that highway, and you don't deviate too much, once you get off your pre-birth highway and on your affirmation highway, things happen pretty darn quickly. Okay? And with that, I want you to know, be kind to dogs and cats, eat well. All right, life's too short to spend too much time on fast food. Rather than eating 3 fast food meals, get a sit-down meal in a restaurant. You might be surprised that it's cheaper than fast food. Drinking from a glass or a cup of coffee from a real cup. Eating off of a real plate. Okay? Improve your life in little subtle ways, and you will start feeling better about your life. Remember one more thing. I believe in you. I believe that you're doing the right thing. I believe you made mistakes in the past, but you've learned from them, and that has made you a stronger, better, more resilient person. And with that, I want you to know you're awesome. Take care, people. Bye-bye.
In the haze of a quiet Sunday morning, lost in thought, imagination soaring, dreamlike melodies fill the air, creating a world where I'm happy in there. Close my eyes and let the beat take hold. Lost in a dream, I am never growing old. The rhythm flows
flows through my veins, setting me free. In the slow, soft and gentle reality,